T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 0, 1, 0.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm Daniel. Alongside with me is Big Blue. Jaime is waiting in the back. There he comes in. How's it going, my man?
Beat me up, Scotty.
Right? I got here right on time. Right on time.
You sure did. How you doing, Big Blue?
Doing good. That's my day off, so I'm enjoying my day.
That's good, man. Are you going to be drinking tonight then?
Sort of. I got a little bit already pre-mixed here.
You've been drinking.
That's about right. That sounds about right.
Oh, my God. Well, it wouldn't be Big Blue if it wasn't the pre-drinks. So
grapefruit soda with vodka.
Nice. So there was a hearing today. The court hasn't been out yet.
Mm-hmm.
The video, at least, it has been adjourned, and all of the important stuff is known now. Just getting this ready. Cool. Congratulations to Groot on being a member for 3 months.
Nice.
Love being here. I wanted to pull that up, but for whatever reason, my internet is just acting up again. It's either that or it's my StreamYard.
I think it's StreamYard, dude. I was having issues yesterday. Remember, we were doing the recording.
Yeah. See, look, I pressed that a while ago, and now it just popped up on its own. Can you remove that for me, Blue? Thank you, sir. So the court hearing hasn't been released yet, the actual footage of it, but we have some information. So this is from Andrea Burkhart. She is a lawyer and also has a YouTube channel. Well, she was at the court, and I'll read some of her tweets off, and then we'll talk about it. So the first one says, "I'm here at the courthouse waiting for the status hearing to get started. Everyone is present except the judge. Very empty gallery today. So not very many people in attendance." As a nod to the size of this jury pool, judge stated he himself was summoned as a juror for trial. Neither side objects to him excusing himself, although I bet the defense wanted to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get people from out of the area.
That's what I thought too.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense if they're using the same judge from the area. It doesn't say to me that they're using, people from outside of the area. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. So,
But maybe the judge doesn't live there either, so it's hard to tell.
right. Oh man, she took down her tweets.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she had. Oh, maybe it's in the replies. Yeah, it's in the replies. My bad. I found them.
You scared me.
So Bryan is waiving speedy trial and asking to continue the trial date. So we are not going to have a trial on October 2nd. That's being moved. We don't know at this current time when the trial is going to be. Are you either one of you guys surprised, Rev, about that trial being moved?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I thought this was going to be moved. Do you think that this tactic of delay, right, waiting to this moment to waive the speedy trial, Do you think that was something done by his defense or Bryan Kohberger himself?
Probably the defense more than him.
I mean, well, his attorneys. I'm sorry. Do you think it was his attorneys, or it was his decision?
No, it was part of his attorneys.
What do you think, Big Blue?
I would think it'd be his decision because his attorneys can only give him like the option of it, but it's up to him to agree to it.
Right, but let's just who's to say that they didn't come to an agreement and that they were going to prolong the speedy trial, that they were going to waive it, right? Who's to say that they didn't come to that agreement a while ago? Whose decision was to hold off on waiving it off until this moment is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, do you think that Kohberger waited until, either yesterday or today, this morning, that he's going to waive his rights, or do you think that was something that was done a while ago, Blue?
I think it was probably agreed on a while ago, but they waited to the end to push it more further out, one more time.
So let's continue. The defense will be moving to strike the death penalty on the grounds that Bryan has been required to choose between his right of a speedy trial and effective assistance of counsel. Now, I got a question for you. The speedy trial, of October 2nd, do you think that would have benefited the defense or the prosecution?
Dude, you were muffled. I didn't hear anything you said.
Oh man! So can you hear me now?
There you go. You said something about what would have benefit the defense or the prosecution? Is that what you said? If it was to remains October,
right? Like who would it have benefited more?
Oh man, I think the prosecution. I think it would have benefited them more.
I do. What about you, Blue? You're muted.
Dang it. Okay, I think it's the same. I think they both might need a little bit more time to prep a couple of things, but I think that gives the prosecution it would have been more benefit if they had this trial earlier.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of people are saying that, you want to pressure the prosecution, right, into saying, all right, do you have enough to have built your case? The speedy trial in that sense is effective, but I think where the issue is that they had asked for a continuance on the preliminary hearing, which was supposed to happen after 14 days. And had he done his, right of speedy trial, this trial would have already taken place. But since he prolonged that, and I think that went a couple of months, the preliminary, and then right around the time that hearing's supposed to happen, the prosecution pulls a fast one and, does the secret grand jury. I don't put it past the defense doing the same. They're going to wait, just like the state waited till the last moment to do the grand jury. We're going to wait till the last moment to sign our right for a speedy trial. Now, I know there was a couple of more weeks left in the deadline for that, but I think it's a little bit of a risk if you take it all the way. It may not be granted, so to speak. And so, and I agree, Olivia, too, that this causes the families more pain and suffering. And yeah, I agree with you as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think one thing that the defense might benefit from it is if they push it back, say they say, oh, we're going to push it back a year or more. I think they'll demolish the house by then. The defense might get that side on their side. Might help them out.
That is 100% accurate, Blue. You're right. Yeah, I think that house is powerful to have the jury go through. Yep. And if they don't have access to it, if it's demolished, let's just say, like you say, it gets pushed down a year. I think that's probably reasonable, about a year. I'm thinking actually probably sometime next summer. And I'm hoping for next summer. If it happens next summer, we'll be out there, y'all. I don't feel too keen about going and driving around Idaho in the winter. You know what I'm saying? We're from we're from Texas.
As long as we turn off our phones, we'll be all right.
Yeah, but we're from Texas, so I ruptured my Achilles tendon because we got stuck in the snow. So I prefer not to be out there in an area where we could get lost at night.
Well, hopefully, if we do go out there, we'll be in the 4x4 or all-wheel drive.
Nah, what are you talking about, dude? We're gonna rent a car, and the only thing that they have is like a Nissan Sentra.
It's a Prius.
And a front-wheel drive. Hey, front-wheel drive will get you there.
They got Kohberger back and forth.
They get us a Hyundai Elantra white sunroof.
Dude, that would be insane. That would be. Speaking of which, I want to talk about this because I've seen this in the comments a few times, that when it comes to Bryan Kohberger, since we're talking about cars, that they feel, oh, what's up, CJ? That they feel that Kohberger is so smart that he wouldn't have taken somebody else's vehicle. What do you think is more risky? Taking another vehicle that doesn't belong to you, or taking your own? I know we'll start off with you.
I think if you involve more people, you got a bigger risk of getting caught. You know what I mean? If he was gonna try to keep it as down low as possible, he would have used everything that he had at hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not be borrowing or asking, because then they'll put up red flags.
Yeah. What about you, Blue?
Yeah, I mean, if I thought about doing this, right, I wouldn't take my own car or borrow a car, but I would either, take, maybe walking or running paths, and maybe an Uber to somewhere where I know there's no cameras, and then walk from there.
It's actually so hard to know, where there's cameras everywhere, man.
Yeah,
everywhere. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the only thing. If they catch you somewhere, they're gonna just trace back where you're coming from. You know what I mean? Because there's so many ring cameras out there, surveillance out there.
Uber can be tracked too, so that doesn't work. I would say the smartest thing of him would have been just to go running.
But most Ubers have a dash cam, right?
Most of them do.
Towards the outside and one inside. Because I heard a lot of them were being held up.
Yeah, right. They do leave trails.
So let's try to put it in perspective, though, right? Let's give the benefit of the doubt. Let's try to figure this out. So if the option or the goal is to get away with this crime, and you opt for, not using your vehicle, are you going to use a vehicle that looks like, never mind. I was going down the wrong path. Where are you going to get that vehicle from? You have a couple of options. You're going to either buy a new vehicle, which has to be registered, and that would trace back to you. You would rent a vehicle, but that would also take, credit card, ID, name. And I'm pretty sure that police would go and investigate, the RERS and all those other things, right? And to make sure that an Elantra wasn't, rented out that weekend. Or the next possibility is you steal one. There wasn't any reports of stolen vehicles. So
one of the things that I would probably do in the scenarios that we're going through is I would probably order a vinyl strip and just freaking put racing stripes on the front and the roof, all the way across. And then once it's done, man, just peel this right off. Oh,
dude, all you got to do is put a bald cap, and they'll think you're Toretto,
right? I mean, let's be honest. Who's gonna put racing stripes down on Elantra?
That's what I'm saying. They're gonna be looking for his racing stripes and Elantra, and then they'll be like, that's gonna be their focus, and then you just peel that vinyl right off, man.
Right. So then I think the only logical explanation, or the most reasonable one, if you're going to use another car that doesn't belong to you, it would be to borrow a vehicle. Now, let's try to figure out, it didn't sound like Kohberger had a bunch of friends, but let's just say he did. Where would you most likely think that he would meet these friends? Probably, in school, business, where he works, things like that, right? In fact, it was a coworker of his that he went in and did the surveillance, right? And so, that's I love it. And so, these are people that are studying criminology. Let's just say that they lended him their car. Don't you think that they would have found it suspicious that during the time that their car was being borrowed, you know what I'm saying? And, so that doesn't make any sense. And even if it was somebody else who borrowed a car that looked like Kohberger's, that would implement, like you said, Jaime, somebody else. And you're taking a lot of risk on them not reporting you to the police when they find out that a vehicle like theirs was seen, and especially it doesn't have a front license plate. It didn't have a front license plate, right? So there's not very many vehicles that are out there in that area that don't have a front license that are Hyundai Elantras. So I feel that the likelihood is very small that person is not going to freak out and call the police, right? Yeah. Now, your best opportunity would have to have that person in on it, right? But then that again leads to the possibility of getting caught. In my opinion. Yeah, exactly. And so I think that the likelihood or the thought that it's smarter to use somebody else's car versus your own, I don't buy it. With your vehicle and in his experience, he would know how to prep that car. He would know exactly what to touch, what not to touch in his vehicle. So that way, if he did have anything, he limits the area that he has to clean to that specific spot. And so to me, I think that it is a much smarter idea to take your own vehicle. You would probably want to, put something on your license plate that, one of those like dark tinted things that make it hard for license plate readers to read it. And, make sure you don't have anything on your car that stands out that's unique, like a dent, a sticker, aftermarket wheels, things like that. And it would be almost impossible to say, hey, that's his vehicle. Yeah.
I think him even going to the house was a higher risk as well. You know what I mean? Knowing that there's so many people there that live there. If one of the victims was a target, and the best thing, well, not the best thing, but one thing that he could have probably done is probably lure that certain victim somewhere else. It would have been the easiest, instead of going to her residence, knowing that there's a lot more people than just two, and in the risk of getting caught.
Right, 100%. Twizzle Thick says he's a criminology student, not forensics. ... I'd encourage you to go back and watch our video. I don't remember which one it is, but we deep dive into what Bryan Kohberger studies, what the prerequisites and the requirements for him attaining a master's degree at DeSales University in criminology, and it included forensic classes. Given his status, and even his own essay stated that he wanted to help collect and analyze technical forensics or technical data and forensics. So just because he's not a forensic guy doesn't mean he doesn't have experience or knowledge in forensics. Even a low-level police officer has some experience in forensics that is trained in the academy. And so, somebody that's going for their PhD, I would think that a forensic course or 3 would be required for that.
Yeah, but
Now, you don't necessarily have to be an expert to understand where you're going to sit and how you're going to limit your area, right? So that you're not going to touch so many things. And plus, it doesn't take an expert to look up what cleaning agents, can be used that wouldn't show up with a black light and luminol. So even our forensics expert that we had on our channel not too long ago said the same thing. And so she actually indicated what over the counter / item you can buy in the store. Certain was it stain removers that in combination with some other things wouldn't show up, and it would destroy the DNA in the car. And she indicated somebody that went to school or was in schooling for what he was going for definitely would have understood that. So I get your theory, but I mean it's kind of like saying a police officer doesn't know the law, like because he's not a lawyer. A lawyer knows more about the law, an expert and specializes in the law, but a police officer is needing to know quite a bit about the law to do their job as well. Yeah. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, they know quite a bit. They don't know it all, but that's because it's a big book. You know what I mean? You got to study that damn thing. And there's a lot of other stuff that they're doing, too.
Yeah, I mean, if they study for forensics, I doubt they'd be a cop at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I said, we looked up some of the things that they were doing in DeSales and for the criminology that program that is required. And there's some forensic classes in there. In fact, I think the picture that guy takes, James Farrow, he's the guy that was his lab partner. I think that was in a forensics type class, so or a science class. So I'm not sure, but like I said, fairly positive he took a forensic class or 2.
Let alone like you could pretty much study yourself just using Google and whatnot.
Yeah,
and slowly just be picking up a couple of ideas here and there through the internet. You know what I mean? From like you said, what chemicals or products to buy to get rid of evidence and gloves, pretty much everything. But the only thing about that is, there's going to be a paper trail, receipts. But if you buy them like way ahead of time, it's harder to like find out.
Right.
Make a connection.
True. And what Lena's talking about, so me and her are in talks. We're going to do a little bit of a mock trial. It's not going to be anything like, is Bryan Kohberger guilty or not guilty? We don't have all the evidence. But based on the evidence that we do have, she's going to represent the defense and present, the case that for Bryan Kohberger, and to represent the prosecution. Big Blue and Jaime will be on the jury. There'll be 2 other people. We're still working out the details. We have a guy that we're talking with that's going to be a mock judge to make sure everything goes smoothly. Make sure you like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. That way you're notified when that goes down. It's probably going to be in the next couple of weeks. So
I just want to say also congratulations. I saw she beat us. She hit the 40K. So congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations.
That doesn't roll over, right, for the sunglasses here? No, it doesn't.
No, that wasn't part of the deal.
I can't remember.
I want to take these damn things off already, man.
Can't remember what the deal was that we made. I don't think we made one, but we just jokingly said.
Yeah. And I look forward to it. I think that there's when it comes to, like, for instance, me, Jaime, and Blue, we all kind of think very similar when it comes to this case. We believe that there's good to have a balance, and so some of the folks that we've brought on the show don't necessarily align with our thoughts, but I think it's good to have that discussion to know what the other side is thinking, and perhaps maybe we'll learn something and we'll understand that. You know what I'm saying? So, um, at the end of the day, as long as everybody respects each other, which they should, it'll be a good thing, a good conversation. Thank you, but I feel like we got there together. I hope you guys here love and respecting you guys beyond respectful. Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate you and we respect you as well. And
Thank
so,
you.
let's continue with the tweets. So, the defense will be moving to strike the death penalty. I already read that. The court is going through a waiver colloquy with Bryan. He is clearly and briefly and affirming that this is what he wants to do. The judge asks, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Bryan replies, "Absolutely." Judge wants a written waiver of speedy trial. Defense did not prepare one. Judges obtained one from Odyssey. They may use it. Bill Thompson does not object, states that waiving the speedy trial is smart. Now, to say that and say, why do you think that the prosecution would say that? Like, oh yeah, that's a smart thing to do. What do you think, Big Blue? Why would the prosecution think that was smart?
Which part again? It kind of broke up a little bit, the question.
The part that it says that Bill Thompson, the prosecutor, does not object, states that waiving the speedy trial is smart.
I think because it gives them more time to process more of this, I guess, more of the stuff, and gives them more time for the defense to, like, maybe Bryan will finally decide to say, put in a plea deal or something. Maybe give him some time to stir in the jail and figure out what's going to happen. That's my opinion.
What about you, Jaime? Do you think that that this is maybe perhaps, what does it say about the confidence? If they would have started, do you think that Bill Thompson and the prosecution are ready to go to court? Them saying, "Hey, it's smart of you to do that to get better prepared." What do you think?
I think the prosecution says that because they have a feeling that they don't have anything to help with the alibi or anything like that to help them get off these charges. So it makes it feel more confident about it. You know what I mean?
Do you feel that the prosecution are confident in their case and would be able to go to trial now? Also, this, not saying that he could win or would win in appeals, but if he were to appeal that he didn't have his stuff ready. Interesting. I'll check that out in a second. But man, I forgot where I was at. But yeah, so so I think it's because of appeals. If he ends up being found guilty, and then he goes to appellate court and says, we didn't have, our defense wasn't properly prepared, we didn't have enough time, blah blah blah, then we could see something in appeals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, you think maybe they want to waive that way they can have enough time to maybe get their hands on the unknown DNA that they have?
Yeah, that would give them good time to find out.
That would. And I'm glad you bring it up. I wanted to talk about that. The unknown DNA. The defense paperwork indicates that the DNA was male. And man, I wish I could find the paperwork. Looking for it earlier, I just can't remember which one it was. But it was the basically it was stating that, damn it, dude. When it comes to the DNA, that the DNA did not belong to Bryan Kohberger, and they suspected that it was entered into CODIS. I know that there's been a lot of question that, the CODIS was entered in CODIS. Was it not entered in CODIS? The prosecution alludes that it was entered into CODIS because it came back as a male and not related to Bryan Kohberger. We spoke the other day as to why we think, or one of the possibilities was that they didn't do the genetic tree. And I think it's because it's FBI policy. Now, knowing that the FBI policy is they can only get involved if there are no leads, right? If there's a lead that develops, they have to back out. They can no longer get involved. If that ends up being the case, does it seem less suspicious to you guys?
Yeah, it's a document that got dropped.
That's the new one?
I think her declaration.
All right, hold on. There's a few of them. Rescheduling order regarding notice of hearing, replies to state objection to defendant's motion to dismiss grand jury. Now, I think she's saying that's where that document was. And which one was it again? Can you pull it back up, Blue? Ann Taylor's declaration.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, it wasn't actually in that. It was the state's response. The state admits that, you know what? That one part was in the, yeah, that's right. It was in Ann Taylor's, and then the state's response is also important. I had them up last time. But, well, anywho, we'll look at that in a second. And so
I had a question. I had a question about that DNA. Let's just say that Bryan Kohberger is found guilty, right, after everything, right? Right. And then it comes to light that he might have an accomplice. What would that do with that DNA? Did that be enough to start building a DNA, like a tree?
Run that. Oh, so if he comes back that he had, I don't think so, because the way the wording stated was that they couldn't get involved if they had a lead or a suspect, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm meaning that, Bryan Kohberger being arrested or even found guilty, even if there's other people that are involved, they still have a lead with Bryan Kohberger. And I think that there's some gray area there. It's like, hey, they have an arrest. You can always just go and interrogate that guy. If he talks to you in prison, he will or he won't, and, to find out through him who his accomplice was. And so that might be the tricky aspect behind it, which is like what I said was, in the paperwork from the state indicates that that they cannot, use the FBI, or FBI policy is that once determined, they cannot go any further. So is it possible that they created a lead, from the sheath, and that pointed to Kohberger first? That was the first DNA that they did, because we don't know where the other 3 DNAs were. We know one was outside in a glove. We know 2 were inside where the bodies were located, but not specifically where, it wasn't on the bodies. Was it on the counter? Was it, on the wall? Right.
Do they say if it was upstairs or the 3rd floor, 2nd? It doesn't, right? It just says near the bodies, right?
Yeah, that's all it says, is just that near the bodies where the bodies were located. And so, that could be the entire room. There was a party there the night before with 150 people there. I wouldn't be surprised if there is, a lot of DNA, or I'm surprised that there's only, well, the term is 3 unknown. How many more did they find that were known? And that could kind of lead you to understand the complex and how complex that scene was, right? Let's just say they found, 20 samples or 30 samples, and they were able to, clear everybody except for the two inside that room, right? And you have one on a sheath. So you had 3 at the time of when they discovered it or went through the lab, right? Are you going to test, the stuff that is around everything? You know what I mean? And yeah, how do they know they're male without STR? That means that they probably send it into CODIS. Now, I would assume that they did that with everybody's, right? And in my opinion, once I think that the DNA on the sheath is probably the main focus for investigators at that moment. Like if I was investigating this and I saw that, all right, we have 3 unknown DNA samples, one on what we believe held the murder weapon, and 2 on items that were located where there was a tremendous amount of other DNA around it. I'm going to go and say, let's focus in on the sheath first. All right. If we figure out who that is and it comes back a dead end, then we'll move on to the next one. So FBI goes, they get a match to Bryan Kohberger, say, hey, check out this guy. So they go and look for, some things that could eliminate him as a suspect. Does he have a white Elantra? If he doesn't have a white Elantra or access to a white Elantra, if he doesn't, then that's a question mark, but he does. All right. They go and get his phone records. All right. Was his phone off? Because they knew that it wasn't connected to the tower. Is his phone off or on during the time of the crime? If it is, it's not, near the residence. So that would, exonerate him. His phone was off during the murders. Right. Those things end up building up into the point where, all right, let's go and pull his trash, which is what they did on December 27th. So, and they were able to match that DNA to Bryan Kohberger. Do you guys think that it is wrong for the state or for the FBI to not disclose their information as to how they came up with Bryan Kohberger's name? Let's start off with you, Blue. You're muted.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? One more time?
I don't even remember. Pay attention, Blue.
No, I was reading the comments and.
No, it said if it's a bad thing if FBI doesn't say how they obtained the
DNA.
Bryan Kohberger's name.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I don't think it's. There's certain stuff, like I said, that the FBI and other government agencies can do as legal and illegal, but there's only so much that we can get into without them having to go to like the federal court appeals. It's gonna have to go to a different court to get more information. It's gonna have the Supreme Court kind of deal, go up the chain of command to get some of that stuff to get unclassified. So I don't think in this case it would get that far. I don't know.
Gotcha. What about you, Hyman? What do you think? Do you think that it's is it a bad thing? Does it look bad on the law enforcement, on the prosecution?
I mean, it does, but it'll look. I want to say it might turn some heads for the jurors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a catch-22 on that part.
Yeah, and like I said last time, we theorized why they want to use it is because it's pointless, right? At the end of the day, the state got a warrant on good police work for the cheek swab to test to the DNA on the knife sheath. You can't get that thrown out or the case thrown out based on what the FBI did with the S&P profile. The only thing that you can get thrown out the SNP profile and tree that was created, right? And so if you go ahead and do that, you're back to square one. You're back to this point. Now, the reason why I think that they want it put in is so that during trial, they'll have this on record. And I think they're hoping that something was done wrong based on the fact that it was never intended to go to trial, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that something was done wrong. I don't think that there was. I think that everybody signed the chain of custody. Everything was done appropriately. But I think the hope is that since it wasn't designed to go to trial, that there might be something wrong, and or maybe they used a platform they weren't supposed to illegally, right? And the reason why they want this is because it won't affect the STR, but what it will do is allow the defense to bring information in court. So when, the defense or the prosecution brings up a witness on DNA, and during cross-examination, all Ann Taylor has to do is say, isn't it during this investigation that there was some evidence that violated chain of custody? And the person would have to say, because it's in court, it's part of it, it's there, and that can confuse the jury. And Ann Taylor's already confused a lot of people. And so she's a good lawyer, but I think that's why they want it in there. I don't know if we said thank you, Liz, but thank you for your $4.99 sticker.
One thing I was thinking of was, what if them delaying the court is also another tactic about people forgetting some of the information about this case. If it gets pushed back 2 years from now, people won't remember half the information that they know now in 2 years. So they get a jury selection then. I don't know when they're going to push it back, but I know I've seen some cases go 2 or 3 years before the guy gets tried. They appeal or they ask for more information. I don't know how that state works.
Yeah.
But by the time the case came up, I didn't remember half the stuff that happened, so I had to go back and look. Like, I don't know, because all you hear is this case is being tried. People move on and people forget. The only people that ain't gonna forget are like us that are covering it, or like the family members. But the public will forget because there's so much news stories and information coming out every day that we start taking more information about other stuff and we forget a little bit more of this. So I think that's one tactic that they can use. Is have the jury pull at a later time so that way it won't be biased against one side.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you, Terra Blue, for your 99-cent super sticker.
Thank you.
I also want to encourage you guys, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, try joining the membership. You would end up having you don't have a time limit when you're chatting in the live chat. You don't have to wait the 60 seconds to type again. You get to automatically just push them out. We also do member only lives. We had one this weekend. It was a great time. It was one of the more funner lives that we had. We gave away some koozies and some stickers. And so I would encourage you guys. The link is in the description, or if you're on Apple, just hit description and it should say to join or perks. Just hit that button and that'll get you there. Also, if you're on any other device, just hit the join button. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Is that it also comes with Blue's OnlyFans, right?
Yeah. It's a clean one though. Unfortunately.
PG-13.
And I saw that on Iman's bottle. He's got something on his bottle.
Oh, my water bottle. Since I don't have a beer with me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the koozie. That's the koozie. If you guys are interested in koozies, I have the other one right here. You can't really see it. Kind of greenish. But you can kind of see that's us right there. Email us if you're interested in a koozie. On them for $12 plus shipping. Yeah, we got another $3 super sticker from Lames Bond double.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bond 007.
All right, so we have the footage now of the trial. So let's tune in and watch this.
Office and discuss appropriate trial date. That council can talk about some of those things before they're taken back to the court. Yes. I fully support that. So I'm vacating the trial, October 2nd. I'm vacating the scheduling order except for September 1st. Okay?
Man, I'm having a hard time hearing
Because somebody's typing like Wreck-It Ralph in there.
I know they're like right next to the damn microphone. Like whose idea was it to put the mic next to the person that's typing everything?
I can't remember what they're called, man. But I was watching a report that there's I think they're court reporters or something like that. Court reporter, right?
Yeah.
And there's a shortage in them. So anybody that's good at typing, man, they have a course at some local colleges, and starting salary is like $100K for court reporters.
Oh, wow.
Damn,
Yeah.
These murders shaking our community.
You know, like you know how I said last time, they need to get some better mics in there, man.
Yeah.
Because Jesus, like, I have no idea what they said. Can you? Is there a way to start over? Or is this?
I can start it over, but there's no damn like captions on this or anything yet.
Yeah, that's what I say. Is that there's no captions or anything?
All right, I think I got a better one. Let's move this one over here. Well, let me minimize this. Put that there. Maximize it, and let's. Closed captions are unavailable. Son of a gun.
Yeah, transcriptionist, man. I can hear her typing.
First and foremost, what do you think about his appearance? Do you think that he's lost weight, gained weight since going to trial? Does he look more healthier? You look at Richard Allen. That guy has completely like deteriorated.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see that in Bryan Kohberger.
I think to me, he looks a lot fitter than he did when he went in.
He does look thicker, but if he was a guy working out a lot, right? And I would assume prison food's probably not the most healthiest, although they're, doing his diet. I assume that he was working out quite a bit, right? We knew that he was running at least a 6-minute mile based on his workout app. That's no joke, right? And that would indicate to me that he had a lot of cardio in, and now I highly doubt he's doing any of that. And so I think that's why he's probably got some weight gain, is the fact that he can't work out. Now, do you think that would help him if, let's just say, this gets pushed out to next summer and he puts on 40 pounds by then? Would that help his case or hurt his case?
40 pounds, man. I don't think it'll hurt at all. I mean, I don't know. It can go both ways because, like, just like you said with Richard Allen, like, he apparently confessed to his wife, right? And then his health just deteriorated real fast. He's not the same guy that went in there. You know? So right here, like, if he gains weight, I don't know, man. For me, I don't think it would. It wouldn't be a bad thing for me, but
do we know
for anybody else, it'll be different.
If any of the victims' families showed up for this hearing today or no?
I don't know, man. I didn't hear that. And Afton Ford gifted a membership. Was it Twizzle Stick? Ended up getting it. Congratulations and thank you, Afton, for doing that. We appreciate it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So I don't know. I think it would affect him negatively. In my opinion, if he
Is it?
goes in there kind of looking slobby.
Yeah, maybe it's like it's. Remember that? You ever remember that movie? I think it was a scary movie where they get that guy and they put him in the interrogation room with donuts, and he ate them all. He's like, you got to eat them all because if you don't eat them all, they'll think you're guilty of whatever they're trying to get you for. So he's like, he ate like 6 or 7 of them.
Jeez.
But then like
What
as
is
soon
he
as
saying?
as soon as the cops came in, he like narked on his friend.
I need to watch that one. I haven't seen that one. All right,
Yeah, I
let's
would
get
say
back. Go ahead.
one thing though, he I'm not sure if he does, but most of the time, people are saying that he probably has a vest under his shirt, like a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, can you go back and he does kind of walk kind of like, like he's swollen and shit. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't see a vest.
It's probably like one of those like for like knives and stuff. You know what I mean? For like a stabbing, not like a
man.
bulletproof vest.
Nah, I would think it'd probably be more if they're gonna wear a vest. It's got to be a bulletproof vest.
I mean,
Yeah.
like right here, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, it don't look like he
Yeah.
has one.
It don't look like it either. Probably they took it off when he walked into the court, or maybe on transport he had one.
Yeah, I doubt it'll be under his shirt, right? It'll be over.
Yeah.
It'll be over his whatever he's wearing.
Would you consider him muscular or athletic, but not muscular?
So swimmer's built.
I mean, that's what Dylan, stated that the person that she saw in the house was athletic, but not muscular.
Yeah, I think he looks like a runner. He looks like a swimmer. You know what I mean? He has
Like
it looks
track
like he has a
star?
lot. Yeah, like he looks like he has more of a like an upper body.
And then he does. I wonder what kind of vegan food they provide in the jail. Here's your vegetable paste. And
Mhm.
your-
You know what I don't understand about vegan food? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but like, why do they make it try to taste like something else, like beef? Like it feels good. Why the hell would you try to make it taste like anything else, but just leave it like the way it is? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I guess the goal isn't, or the objection isn't the taste of the food. It's the act of having to, take an animal's life.
I don't know. I also
You know what I'm
saw this meme where it shows like a jaguar and it says carnivore and they're all slim. The
Mhm.
cheetahs all slim because they're carnivores, and then they show a freaking elephant and a hippopotamus, and they're all they don't eat meat, so I don't know what's going on there.
They eat a lot of carbs.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, vegan food, sorry guys, it's okay, but y'all's pizza sucks.
There's the cauliflower pizza from the main event out here in San Antonio. Ain't bad.
Shut
I
up.
say that. Shout out to main event. Sponsor us, please.
Cauliflower is supposed to be cauliflower mixed with cheese or something, but the pizza sucked. It made me sick, man. I threw up like the whole night after eating cauliflower pizza.
It's because your body's used to that dough.
My-
All right, let's continue.
My uncle's a vegetarian, man, and he made some dope hamburgers, bro. Like I was munching, and I was like, man, these are good. He's like, oh yeah, they're veggie burgers. I was like, what? What? I don't understand how what's going on. It's like,
You go look in the
guess-
mirror, your teeth are all green.
I was all pale. I was all droopy-eyed and shit.
All right. And I think Brian's about 6 foot. That's not an average height of 6 foot for a guy. You know what I'm saying? I think like 5'8", 5'10", or something like that is the average height. And so if you're 6 foot, you're gonna tower over some people. Now look it up. Look it up. Blue, you're not paying attention anyways. Look it up.
I am. I was. Look, this is my reaction. I'm in reaction.
That was totally.
All right, let's
I don't know if
continue
that's the average height for men. I thought it was like 5'11". Not
this.
that.
I don't know, man. I
I know
thought it was like
5'9"
or 5'10".
I know
Somewhere around there.
5'5", 5'6" is for like women, like females, right?
5'7" at that.
Is it or something like that? I don't know.
No.
Blue, look it up.
I
Yeah,
will.
5'8" in there.
I will Google that because everybody says that. Like, Google this. All I know is that court reporter's pissed.
She sounds like she's typing someone's thoughts.
She probably is.
Okay, 5'9" is the answer you're looking for.
5'9".
Thank you. We are now on the record. This is State of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohberger, case number CR 29-222805. Mr. Kohberger is in the courtroom. Ms. Taylor is representing him. Looks like Mr. Watson is participating on Zoom, as is Ms. Bassett. And we have Mr. Thompson and Ms. Jennings in the courtroom representing the state. Participating on Zoom is Ms. Beatty and Mr. Nye. Also representing the state, I've got Ms. Engler is the court reporter. She's participating on Zoom. And I think that's really everybody that I have to address here. So the defense, Ms. Taylor, requests a status conference for today. So here we are. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we asked for this status conference today because I had some opportunity to meet with Mr. Kohberger and talk about his trial date and his speedy trial right. Your Honor, we're here today to ask the court to continue the trial setting, and Mr. Kohberger is prepared to waive his right to a speedy trial. Your Honor, there are a couple of things I need to place on the record. One can come after the court takes his waiver, but one I think ought to come before the court takes his waiver. Your Honor, as the court knows, we will file a number of motions to strike the death penalty and Idaho's scheme of capital punishment. Because we're here today to waive speedy and ask the court to continue, I think the court and counsel ought to know that one of the motions that we will be filing is a motion to strike the death penalty because it places Mr. Kohberger in a position where he has to choose between two rights. One, that being the right to have a speedy trial, or the other right to effective assistance of counsel. I didn't want that to come filed later and have it be any surprise that I knew it was coming. It will be coming. That motion will be coming. And for us to.
What do you think about that? That she's basically saying that he has to choose between his right of a speedy trial and or the right for defense, and they're asking to remove the death penalty. How do those things correlate? Is that making sense to you?
I'll be honest, man. You can't hear shit.
Yeah, it's a little hard, but
I was able to. I put both of my earplugs in, and I could hear what was saying. I'll try to.
Yeah, please do. But you know what I was thinking? Do you think that people are just taking a beating, man? What's it called? You think that maybe remember when he wanted to have the speedy trial, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think maybe he thought, I got caught, I'm busted, let's just get the shit over with, and then they comes to find out that maybe the prosecution doesn't have that much that he thought, and now that's why he wants to skip it and just risk it for the biscuit at the end.
Maybe. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Or at least his lawyer is trying to cast that reasonable doubt, and he thinks that might be enough.
The only thing about it though is that he was pretty adamant early on that he was like, and he used the term, wanted to exonerate himself, right? And so that's the only thing that kind of puts that down. I think it was planned from a while ago. I think first and foremost, I think Bryan Kohberger committed this crime. That's my opinion. It's speculation. He's innocent until proven guilty still. But I think he committed this crime, and I think that he is a very well calculated person, and he did a lot of things very like the details, all the details covered. Like I said before, leave that sheath behind. This is an unsolved, homicide to this day, or quadruple homicide. So he did a lot of things right, despite all the dumb mistakes that people say that he made. Taking his phone, using his own car, leaving the knife sheath. They didn't find DNA in his car. They didn't find evidence of the stalking on his phone, according to the defense. Now, I do want to bring that up. Court TV indicated that Bryan Kohberger was following 3 of the victims on Instagram. Like how is that accurate? And also Ann Taylor's motion where she says that there's no connection between Kohberger and the victims. How do those two things add up together? The math ain't adding up.
The math ain't mathing.
It's not.
Yeah.
So who's lying?
Right.
One thing go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The one thing that I wanted to bring up was they're asking for the death penalty to be taken off the table, but not life without parole. Not saying that he's innocent. So is that like an admission of guilt that he's gonna,
It sure sounds like something.
It sounds like they're prepared to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't reek confidence, and a lot of this case don't reek confidence. I think that they're trying really hard with this preliminary stuff or these pre-trial hearings because they probably know that they got the rights. I think that the prosecutor and the defense team is very confident in their case. We also have to realize that they didn't have only 6 months. They also had the time between November 13th and the time that Bryan Kohberger was arrested to have studied and analyzed all the visual footage and evidence to determine that it was right.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a lot longer than what the prosecution or the defense had to prepare. And so 5 plus 5 is equaling 452. Yeah. Mama, that makes sense, right? In this case. For me, it just, like I said, it sounds like not so much an admission of guilt, but like preparation for a loss.
I think Ann Taylor's trying to become woke and have that new world math. Y'all see that theory that math is biased or something like that? There's this person saying that 1 plus 1 is not always going to be 2. In somebody's mind, it could be 3, and that could still be correct. I think that's Ann Taylor's math theory.
Well, all right. Then.
Let me ask. Well, if Ann Taylor believes, she's going through this to waive the right for a speedy trial, and to take off the death penalty, right? Yeah. You wouldn't think they would go for a plea?
Well, I think before they do that, I think what they're trying is take the death penalty off, so that way there's no risk, right? The plea is probably going to be life without parole, right? Exactly. If you get that as the maximum punishment by taking off the death penalty, then you're going into trial like, hey, you're not losing out on that plea. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And now you can fight this in court without the pressure also of knowing that your life is on the line.
Yeah.
I mean, if taking the death penalty off, that's a win over itself, right? For her or for her client.
I would agree. I think that would definitely be a win. A win.
I've seen that happen before in other cases that one of them's about to get released, and a lot of people are not happy about it. And it was with the Manson murders. One of the girls that helped them. I guess she had life without parole or something instead of getting a death penalty. So she, I guess,
Isn't she like
finally,
70 now?
yeah, she finally got it approved where she's gonna get released on parole, but she's like 76 or something like that.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
man.
the families, the victims still want her to rot until she passes. So it's difficult.
That would be. Thank you, Mikey, for gifting a membership, and Carrie Templeton for receiving that gift. Congratulations.
Awesome. Congrats.
All right, let's play this some more.
Stand up and request a continuance and waive speedy today. The rest can be placed on record after the court's questions.
Well, you heard all that, Mr. Kohberger? Yes? Yes. And is that the case that you want to waive your speedy trial rights? Yes. Do you understand that those rights are statutory in Idaho, also protected by the United States Constitution and the Idaho Constitution? Yes. You understand that if you waive, you're waiving really forever in this case. So if we were to push this out, this case, and then something else happens that allows us or requires us to push it out a little farther, you can't claim your right to a speedy trial at that point. You understand that? Yes. So maybe have.
See, that's important. So
Please tell me, because I didn't.
So he was asking him if he understood. Where did Blue disappear to? But he had asked if he had understood that. What do you call it? If he understood that by waiving his right for speedy trial, that if something comes up later and it has to be moved again, that he can't ever claim a right of speedy trial anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so the defense can push this out for quite a bit. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Thank you, Canadian True Crime Buff, for gifting 5 memberships. You know, for those that are new members, go check out our member only lives. We did one a couple of days ago. We think you'll enjoy. And so,
Are you still having trouble putting up comments?
no, for whatever reason, StreamYard ring up when somebody gifts.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. It doesn't bring it up. So,
okay.
And I have it on my phone right here so I can read it. Do you think that, that's one of the things that is, I guess, the worry, right? One of the things, or your rights for a speedy trial, is that the state can't prolong it over again, essentially keeping you in jail for multiple years until you go to court. You know what I'm saying? And, I just think that, in my opinion, and thank you, Big Mark Langley. We appreciate you being a new member.
Thank you.
I just think that it's, that was probably one of the reasons why they were not waiving it. Try to avoid that. But I do think that this is going to push this court out significantly.
Yeah, I mean, it can also work in state's favor. If they come up with more evidence, obviously.
Yeah, and that's what the judge said. If something else comes up, like if they found more evidence and they had to push it back.
Yeah. So it could, like I said before, it can be good for the prosecution and for the state. So
if I was the prosecution, I'd be looking damn hard for that knife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, let's continue this.
Enough time to discuss this with Ms. Taylor? I have. Has anybody pressured you to waive your speedy trial rights? No. Okay. You sure you want to do this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you agree with this, Ms. Taylor?
Your Honor, I do agree with this. do not believe council can be effective by October 2nd on the entire case if we should end up in a part 2 of this trial. Our investigation is not complete. Our work with experts is not complete. We haven't completed our review of the state's evidence. I do not believe that we can be effective.
Did you pick up any of that?
Nah, man. I just hear mumbling. I just heard him say absolutely, yes, no. But that's like he's the clearest one of all.
Oh, for sure. So basically, he was just asking, has anybody threatened you or forced you to do this? He was saying, no. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. And then he said, are you absolutely sure you want to do? Are you sure you want to do this? And he said, absolutely. Wow, Blue, thank you for popping in like that. Right. And when they asked his attorney if she's aware and she agrees, she goes, yes, absolutely. We don't have enough counsel. We have not done our investigation. All those things required for an effective defense. Mm-hmm. She sounded like she was relieved. Does that say to you that Bryan Kohberger was pushing the speedy trial until this point?
Yeah, he was. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be like, hey, man, you got to chill out, man. You're going to get, we're trying to get you at least live and not death penalty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. But, I'll be honest, man. That's like from the judge all the way to the lawyers, man, it's like a 5-minute Uber ride and shit, man. What the hell?
What do you mean?
He's like, the guy's next door. Like, the judge is next door talking to these people.
He's on the corner.
Right? Like, that's super far. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's the farthest I've ever seen a judge.
Well, I think they do have microphones. But, yeah, that is pretty far.
What microphones? We only have one that's right next. It's like on top of the keyboard.
Well, the court has the microphones. We aren't privileged to it, unfortunately.
No.
Or Bryan Kohberger's is the only one.
It's working.
Yeah. Daniel, we need you can't unarrest someone without due process summary, please. Yeah, you can't arrest somebody without with a magistrate's order. Like, for instance, even if we found exculpatory evidence, right? Like, let's just say tomorrow Bethany comes forward and says, no, Kohberger, the person that was in the house, was a fraternity member of a nearby fraternity. I recognized his voice. It was him. And so, and even if that guy comes out and says, yeah, it was me, that doesn't mean that Bryan Kohberger walks out free that day. He'd have to go through the process. He'd have to go through court. It wouldn't be a long process, but it could be 2-3 weeks, maybe 2 months sometimes. So, yeah, it is. It is one of those things where you can't do. You have to go through the process, and so
there was a case a while back. I can't remember. I think there was like a documentary on it on Netflix where this guy was accused of killing I think a lady or something. I can't remember if it was a lady or a guy, but they gave a description of the guy and what the vehicle looked like, whatever. And then they were coming down to this guy that, they arrested him. He fit the description and everything. He had a car similar to it. And they arrested him, and he said that his alibi was like, I was at a baseball game with my son, right? Mm-hmm. And they asked the kid if they were at the baseball game or whatever, and the kid said yeah, and they still couldn't he wasn't a reliable witness, I guess you can say. Mm-hmm. And then what happened is that he remembered that they were filming like a TV show or something like that, right? So his lawyer went through all the film from that TV show, and he ended up seeing him in the background at that on that same where he was supposed to be, you know what I mean, where he said he was at, and they cleared him because of that.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
It was crazy.
I think I actually remember that.
I mean, if it wasn't for that, for them filming the show around where he was at, like he would have been in jail.
Yeah.
That's
No,
crazy.
yeah, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Now, one of the things that speaking of time and alibis and all this other stuff, is one of the things is that I've seen also in the comment section was the original timeline. The original timeline. Cops came out saying that it was between 3 and 4. The reason why I think law enforcement said that early on was in case somebody came in with a false confession. If they came in and said, "Hey, I committed this crime," they were like, "All right, how did you do it? How did you enter? What time did you get there?" And if he's just spewing things that is out there in the media, "Oh, I got there at 3:30 and went through the back glass door. I found somebody in the hallway, and or in the kitchen as I walked in, and everything that's completely off, right? And what was going on, or the rumors, or what was spreading in the media. So I think that's why that was done, to be one of the clues to determine whether or not, if somebody comes forward, like if they come forward and say, "I committed this crime, but it wasn't at 3, it was at 4:05." Oh shit! Well, as a law enforcement officer, then say, nobody knows that. Only law enforcement knows that, and only the killer would know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why it's like that.
I find it real strange that people would like confess to crimes that didn't commit. That's crazy.
But it happens a lot.
It
Happens a lot,
does.
especially in high-profile crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like John Benet Ramsey has had like 3 or 4 people, confess to her,
Yeah.
and none of them have done it. They can't prove it was them. So, they've confessed and they've come out with stories and written things. And one dude supposedly lived fairly close, and yet still not arrested.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, we got about 13 minutes on this. Let's continue.
Is Mr. Kohberger willing today to write, to sign his name, and you to sign your name on the waiver of student trial?
Your Honor, I can tell you that I did not prepare Mr. Kohberger for that, and that would be because I'm not familiar with the court's practice. I expected we would wait and open court today, and that would be sufficient. I'm happy to take a look at the process to make it.
Well, I wasn't really anticipating this, but just in case, and hypothetically, I grabbed a Odyssey form, which I don't really favor those forms, but I did pull that out, and maybe I could give this to you and Mr. Kohberger, and we could take a look at it. My practice is always to get a written signature of waiver in any waiver of student trial. So let me go to. I haven't taken his waiver yet. I'm going to notice that. But
So for those that couldn't hear, he's talking about asking if Bryan Kohberger was prepared to sign the waiver. Ann Taylor said that she didn't, she didn't have one prepared. He says that he has basically like a boilerplate version waiver that Bryan Kohberger is supposed to sign. I think he does sign it. So we'll be able to see which hand he signs with, his left or his right. And I'm super interested in that because we've seen pictures of him using his right hand to write and sign things. And there was the ABC podcast that indicated that when he signed, his extradition rights away, that he signed it with his left hand. So that has been something for me that has been, I've been wondering about, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll continue.
let that settle for a second. Mr. Thompson, do you have any objections?
No, Your Honor. I think everybody would like to have it resolved sooner or later, but I think the case here does such great importance and complexity that this is a smart move.
Thank you.
So I asked if the prosecution if he had any objections for him to waive his rights, and he said no. And at the end of it, he said he thinks that this is a smart move on his part.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Dude,
That's
this typewriter.
That's the only thing I heard so far.
Like this person here, at first I was thinking, man, I think it's this one lady up in the front right there next to Thompson. because she's typing, but then I saw her not typing and it was still typing. So I was like, no, that's not her. But I was like, if it was her and it sounded like that from there. Oh, wait, I saw something I like. Man, I can't show it. What's going on? Oh, there it goes. You know it. You know it. All right, so let's continue this.
I do agree with that. I mean, we have so many things going on. There's a lot of issues left to resolve. And as you know, I mean, you probably would understand that. And you were all thinking this, that it's going to be very difficult to put everything together that needs to be put together before October 2nd. This is a very significant, complicated case for all the lawyers, particularly for Mr. Kohberger. So I understand you want to be fully prepared for this trial, and if it happens, also. So, and likewise for the state, likewise for the court. I mean, I was going to do that, but you don't want to have to. Any of these issues, because they're all important.
So the only thing the judge is doing is just saying that he also agrees why it should be the speedy trial should move, be waived. He doesn't object to it himself. And he says that there's a lot going on and a lot of people, a lot of things that need to be done before court. And so he's also agreeing to this being the smart idea.
What's it called? Did he say that it's going to be a hard trial, especially for the prosecution? Or did I mishear that? I didn't hear that right.
I don't know. Let me rewind it a little bit. Was it right before I paused it, or was it a while ago?
Yeah, it was right before you paused it.
Yeah, let's go back to here and let's listen.
Significant, complicated case for all the lawyers, particularly for Mr. Funke. So I'm
It's a complicated case, and in particular for Mr. Kohberger.
Oh, okay. I totally didn't hear that right. I don't know what kind of earphones y'all have, but man, I saw they sound like it's the parents or the adults in Charlie Brown and shit.
Man, I got the cheap ones, dude, that you get at the airport for the airplane that plugs in. It still has the one of them goes in and out, but when I have both of them in and I'm like not moving in the right direction, I can hear it.
Yeah,
I can hear it, but it's just like it's a little low. I have to turn on my mic.
I can hear what the lady's typing.
Yeah.
I can tell what letter she's typing by the way the keyboard sounds. Thank you, Angel, for gifting a Drunk Turkey Show membership, and congratulations to Deandra for receiving said gifted membership. Congratulations, y'all.
Awesome.
We have a new membership group. Before it was the social turkey, the smoked turkey, the buzz turkey, and the drunk turkey at the end, right? Now we have, look, what do you keep doing?
He's like, I'm not in the ad, so he's gonna take some part of this ad.
And now we have the was it the Polt Squad, which is basically the baby turkey squad. It's only 99 cents to be a member per month. Go check it out. You have all access to all the perks. Majority of them. We'll probably do more things for our upper echelon members as we move along. But I wanted to remind you guys of that.
Oh, you.
3 texts into walking to a bar, find out what happens next. Join our flock. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Join the flock. I like that. All right, let's go back to this.
understand you want to be fully prepared for this trial. If it happens, also. So, and likewise for the state, likewise for the court. I mean, I was willing to do that, but you don't want to have to. Any of these issues, because they're all important. So I don't know, did you take a look at that form?
Maybe back to someone.
Yeah, go ahead.
That zoom in perfect. right.
But this is why they want to get the courts out of trial, because they zoom in on him too much.
He's using his right hand too, right?
Oh, you know what? I missed it. It looked like his left. Huh?
Negative.
It
He
does
hands
look like
it.
his right. It does look like his right.
Yeah, she gives the pin and he writes. Or go back? I don't know. Now I'm confused.
Dude, I can't tell because she reaches over to give it to him. She doesn't just hand this, right? So she reaches all the way over, and I think his right hand is holding the paper while he signs with his left.
I think so too. Yeah, because even when he gives the pin back, she has to reach over the right hand.
Mm-hmm. Let us know in the comment section if you guys think it's right or left.
Figured if I'm gonna be riding a horse, I might as well be wearing the right hat.
No, I don't know, man. I'm just. It looks like he's using his right hand to me. I'll be honest.
His arm does look like it's moving a little bit.
Looks like he moved it to hold steady, and then he like hands the pen back to the right. But I can't tell if he did it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to tell. Man, why do they have to have this weird ass angle?
You can't you can't zoom in on the smaller screen up there.
Yeah, let's say the small screen.
Oh shit! All right, I'm gonna get real close. I can't zoom in on this, but I'm gonna try to get real close to this.
Okay, do it, and I can see the screen actually pretty good, but I can't tell.
It looks like it's all done. Dude, he has both hands right above the signature stuff. I can't tell who writes like this.
Play it back a little bit. Play it back one more time. I think I see him with his right hand.
That's not far enough.
Remember, my second monitor is like a 42-inch screen. Okay. Yeah, it looks like he's writing with his right hand right there.
Yeah, it does look like his right hand.
Yeah.
This guy looks like blue on the right. Sleep.
So, Mr. Kohberger, did you read this over? Yes. Okay, what I'm talking about is the written waiver of speedy trial. Yes. Did you understand the terms here? Yes. Which we've already talked about. Yes. And you agree with the signing the form waiver of speedy trial, Ms. Taylor?
I do not.
Okay, so Mr. Kohberger, do you want me to accept your waiver? Yes, I do. Okay, and you understand that if I accept your waiver, you're giving up your constitutional right under the United States Constitution and the Idaho Constitution on a constitutional right of speedy trial? I understand. Do you understand that if I accept your waiver, you're also giving up your Idaho statutory right to a speedy trial? Yes. And that is within 6 months of your arraignment? Yes. Do you agree with the tender of the waiver, Ms. Taylor? Kohberger, do you want me to accept your waiver? I do. Based on our discussion, your waiver of these rights expressly in court and also signing this waiver of speedy trial. Also, you are tendering these waivers on advice of counsel. I will accept your waiver of speedy trial. I find that your waivers are knowing, intelligent, voluntary, and there's actually good cause to recognize that. What I heard from your counsel, Thompson. So, with that, we can talk about resetting this. I'm prepared to do that today. Sarah?
I would say that we are not prepared to choose the trial date today. That brings me to the second part of what I wanted to talk to the court and counsel about today. We currently have September 1st as the date for the motion to dismiss the grand jury indictment. Our deadline to file our challenges will be today, and we're prepared to file those today. Our hope is that that particular hearing date, we'd like to keep it, both challenge the grand jury indictment, and also there are 2 additional motions that we're going to be filing And we're hoping that we can have those heard. After that time, after we've heard the motions, we'd be in a position to meet with the state if we desire and talk about a reasonable trial setting. My preference would be to have us discuss that and reset the trial one time and not do this a number of times and worry about getting subpoenas out and working on it. That would be my request. The other deadlines that are in place right now on the court.
Real quick, did you guys hear that? Was that,
You're asking the wrong person.
Well, that they're gonna move one of the cases to September 1st, like to get
no. They're gonna keep the.
Oh.
So there's a September 1st court hearing already. Let's back it up a little bit. The judge asked Ann Taylor if she was prepared to give a trial date, and she said no. That she has. They have the September 1st hearing for the motion to dismiss the grand jury. She wants to keep that. She also stated that she has 2 more motions that she's wanting to file, and that after she files those motions, then they'll meet with the state to come up with a reasonable setting for the trial, is basically what she said. And so I wonder what those 2 motions are. You know, if I was filing a motion in this case, it would be to suppress the phone pings based on the warrant not being adequate enough. I think that might be one of them. What do you guys think could be, another reason or another motion that they could be filing?
That'd be one for sure. For me, at least, the cell phone pings. I think the fact, maybe the way they obtained that, they obtained the DNA from trash and all that stuff. Maybe, I don't know if they had enough for a warrant for them to go through his through his records and whatnot.
Do you think that it could be a change of venue too?
Oh yeah, I didn't think that.
It could be for the hearing, to get like a more, I guess, non-biased jury pool.
Yeah,
but I'm surprised they didn't do it from the get-go, man.
I think they tried, didn't they? And I thought, and so this is where I'm confused, because I thought that the what ended up being agreed upon was that
they're bringing people.
They were bringing people from other counties in, but the trial was going to take place in Lawton County. Now, if the judge is, getting summons to jury duty, that's kind of weird. She wants the cameras removed, is what was on Twitter or X. That's true too, that she does want the cameras removed.
Yeah,
I hope she don't get that one, man. I really,
even though this sounds like they're talking in cursive, it's better than nothing.
Yeah,
they probably did that on purpose, man. They probably we're gonna put you right here next to the typist,
and that way they can't turn it up, because if they turn up the microphone too loud, that's gonna blow our eardrums. Oh man! All right, so let's continue this.
Scheduling order, I think those would be appropriate for us to talk about on the state and defense, and perhaps suggest for the court to order a different scheduling order than the one that exists. We just simply want to keep the grand jury indictment challenge date, because that's soon, and having the court's decision on that will largely impact what comes next. If the court will allow, I'd like to briefly address the other 2 motions that are kind of not been talked about. Your Honor, we will be filing a motion as to do media in the courtroom, particularly for cameras in the courtroom. And that motion should be filed by the end of today or first thing this month. That comes from some things that happened last week. The other motion, Your Honor, has to do with what happens to witnesses that the defense might call. The court will recall Gabriela Vargas testified last Friday in our hearing. Last night, she was visited by 2 FBI agents and interrogated about her testimony, the timing of her declaration. That, in our view, impacts Mr. Kohberger's due process rights and his rights to effective assistance of counsel, and that motion will also be filed later today for Tuesday.
Muted.
Yeah,
He got you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys are here. So they want two motions, one being the courtroom, the other one being that they want to know what something about it was hard to hear something about the witnesses after trial
Yeah,
because
this
one of her witnesses was
approach her.
visited by FBI and interrogated.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty. That's a pretty big claim, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on record too, so she theoretically she can't be lying.
Yeah. Dang. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't even hear anything about the FBI doing anything further in the case.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, I mean, what do you call it? The FBI doesn't want to give up their tactics at the end of the day. So, but isn't that like witness tampering? To go mess with a witness, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, it also depends when, right? It could have been before they even knew that she was a witness, or she's talking about like after everything was already done.
Yeah, she's talking about afterwards. She said after her testimony.
Okay, well
FBI.
That's a big no.
Right.
But what if the FBI is there for another case, or something else?
I don't know, man. Maybe, but she's kind of alluding it to being that
This
it
one.
was referencing this.
Yeah.
But to me, that sounds like somebody says we all know that the FBI does things legally, right?
Yeah. For example, Ruby Ridge. You ever heard of the Battle of Ruby Ridge?
I haven't.
Look it up. You then tell me how FBI works.
No, I agree with you guys. I don't trust or wouldn't, put it past the FBI to do some shady stuff, right? But does that mean that Bryan Kohberger didn't commit this crime? No. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I get why people are upset.
Mm-hmm.
Constitutionalists saying, "Hey,
Fair trial.
Bryan Kohberger, innocent until proven guilty. You looked at sites you shouldn't have that didn't, claiming this. Nobody knows for sure, right? Because the FBI hasn't given up their work, so we don't know for sure that they used, sites that they weren't supposed to, right? And so they very well could have been done this completely legal. We don't know. But let's just say you're a constitutionalist and stuff. I just don't think Kohberger should be like your constitutionalist hero. I think you might want to choose a different one because you know what I'm saying. Because don't get me wrong.
The constitutionists right now are getting their popcorn and soda ready because they're ready for the Tucker Carlson interview tonight with Donald
dude.
J. Trump. So
that's going to be interesting. We probably need to cover that a little bit.
I don't know, man. Last time we went through the political road avenue, that didn't go so well.
we had to delete videos. That was some good times. But that was when we only had like 40 subs. Maybe it'll be different this time. Who knows?
But we had 60 when the show started.
We probably did, man. We probably did. All right, let's finish this off, man.
Any objection to hearing the motion along with these two more motions to be heard on September 1, Mr. Thompson?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Having not seen exactly what the motions are, but you're saying they're fairly straightforward, I would think that with the motions we have an issue with great support for Ms. Taylor. I will, for the record, since Ms. Taylor has brought up the situation with Vargas, did work in counsel background. Over the weekend, Ms. Vargas, after she testified, engaged in some electronic communications with others in the genetic genealogy field. Those indicated, as it was reported to the investigators, bar investigators, that she was redating on some of the things that she testified to in court. When we heard of that, I reached out to the investigators and said, can you find out what's going on? And the FBI indeed undertook the investigation. And the reports are that Ms. Vargas claims that some of what was in her declaration, she inadvertently agreed or signed without fully reading it. We're documenting that so we can expose it to Ms. Taylor and to the court, because I think those records report happened last week. That's the only reason that she was contacted, because it reported to us that she was retracting some of what she had testified to, what was in her declaration. And we felt very easy to cover that system. There was no other motive, no other motivation for it. I just wanted to.
Okay.
All right, so everybody jumps down the FBI's throat real quick, right? Because they do some shady shit politically, and you know what I'm saying, and maybe do some shady stuff in other places. But apparently, according to the prosecutors, they're saying that they asked the investigators to go out there because one of the witnesses was redacting some of the things that she was testifying to. She was changing documents after the fact, and they wanted to figure out what was going on. So the witness was doing some shady stuff, apparently.
Yeah.
Man, this lawyer is pretty good, because the way she says things, and Taylor, she's like, oh, they interrogated her and did this and that. And like, it makes you think that they were like, you know, giving her the 9 degrees, and don't seem like it.
Yeah, and most of this trial's gonna be the dialogue that they use towards each other.
Yeah, and I'll say this, you know, there are things that Thompson says that I don't think that he says them right. There's room for question. He doesn't answer it clearly sometimes. Like, for instance, the 3 DNA thing. He could have come up with an answer for that. Like, hey, you know, we but then again, they don't want to use FBI. So I think the reason why he didn't bring up anything is because they don't want to use the FBI's testimony. If he brings it up in court, that the FBI did it or whatever, then that might lead for the defense to, you know, say, all right, now it's open for us to use, right? So he's not saying anything about the FBI, and the other 2 unidentified profiles and the third one outside weren't, you know, given a tree. You know what I'm saying? Now let's continue this. We should finish it out on this one.
Your Honor, that's certainly different than the information that I received.
Why did it pause?
Because you said FBI.
Yeah. So,
What are they doing? It's working weird. I'm not even doing
Your Honor,
anything.
that's certainly different than the information that I received. I would have been happy to be advised about that, but I'm not sure that's accurate. I mean, I'm sure that was responsive her. I'm not saying that they're calling him a liar, but the quality of the information he needs to see, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate. My hope is that these 2 FBI agents that were at Ms. Vargas' home last night, hopefully they reported everything that they talked to her about, and that should resolve the issue.
okay, great. We'll hear about it at the hearing. That's how we sort these things out.
Yeah.
So back to a change of the scheduling order. I think it does make some sense to redo that. You want to just talk about that before we start taking that apart? We don't have to do it right now, I'm saying.
Judge, the state's position would be is that the court vacate the October trial date, vacate the scheduling order. Let's get through what we're going to do on the 1st, and then let's talk.
That's it.
Did you notice that Kohberger barely moved at all?
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, like that guy can stand still or sit still.
He definitely can. You're right. You know, I didn't notice it until you mentioned it now, but that's accurate. That is accurate. So this is the newest motion that was filed, the newest document that was filed. This is the reply to the state's objection to the defendant's motion to dismiss grand jury on the grounds of error in grand jury instructions. Now comes, there's my dyslexia. Comes now, Bryan Kohberger, by and through their attorney, Jay Weston Logsdon, Chief Deputy Litigation, and hereby submits the following reply to the state's objection to his previously filed motion to dismiss the indictment for error on instruction as to the standard of proof or the remand for preliminary hearing. There is no Idaho Supreme Court authority binding on this court as to the standard of proof for grand jury. The state begins by arguing that Edmondson, there's 12 pages. Edmondson contained a holding binding upon court, and the standard of proof for grand jury is probable cause. The state's brief at 2, the state insists that it was a holding because the Supreme Court relied upon it to come to 2 conclusions. The use of grand jury as opposed to a preliminary hearing did not violate equal protection, and the court may set aside an indictment lacking probable cause. I got a question for y'all. Why not just do the preliminary hearing? I mean, it was planned for. There was a date.
Mm-hmm.
Why do this?
I think because it was going to be a circus. With everybody that's interested in the case, they would swamp that city, and there's not enough. They would have to bring extra people, just guard the courthouse and more security, and cost the state a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
And then just do the secret grand jury.
I don't know, man. I just feel like they should have just done the preliminary hearing, and there would have been no question. You the defense, say what they need to say. If you feel that the guy that you have there is a guy and that your case is solid, the same shit goes with the defense. If you're confident with as a prosecutor in your case, what is he going to say in that preliminary setting that is going to exonerate him? If you did your investigation right, there shouldn't be anything.
Everybody says that because if they did, they would have to bring up the witnesses, and the defense can talk to them at that point.
Yeah, but so what? Like, they're going to have to talk to them, at one point or another. It's going to happen. All right? Like, so what? Like, the trial setting is going to happen. The witnesses are going to have to come forward. I would think you would want to do it. Call it a practice. What you're going to expect, what questions you're going to be asked, things like that. This setting here, whatever those witnesses say isn't going to, in the preliminary hearing, in my opinion, is going to find Kohberger, exonerate him. Right. And so just do it. I mean, if your case is strong, just do it. That's basically all I got to say with that. All right. So I just kind of want to go through this and see what else is on here. The standard of proof of grand juries at beyond a reasonable doubt. Let me see what this says. The state's next argument is that despite its plain language, actually has to be transposed into probable cause because the Idaho Supreme Court adopted a rule on the same issue, which according to the state forces the court to abandon the usual rules of statutory interpretation. The state's brief at 5 through 6. The Idaho Supreme Court remarked once in dicta that it did not think that the statute set the standard at beyond a reasonable doubt in Gasper versus a phrase in their judgment means no one should question what a grand jury does. The word warrant in 1862 meant to authorize, give authority or power to do or forbear anything by which the person authorized is secured or saved harmless from any loss, damage. And the debate at the Idaho Constitutional Convention demonstrates a knowledgeable group clearly aware of the laws and the effect of the territory. Organization of the state's arguments, we have 2 relating to the plain meaning of the statute, 2 relating to the judicial interpretations, and argument about the separation of powers, presumably, and an argument history. The plain language of the statute does not help the state's case, especially if you are speaking in 1862. But we're not speaking in 1862. We're speaking in 2023.
Hear thee, hear thee.
Brittany Dunn comes in with a $5 super chat. Hey, it's great to see y'all. Thank you for your jobs. It makes my job as an official true crime supporter easy and understandable. Thank you. We appreciate that. We truly do. So, the state's argument as to plain language on the statute is confusing at best. While warrant today might give the state some wiggle room to advance a reasonable foundation argument, its own quote from 1862 permits no such reading of the statute. Why then does the state claim that to authorize, to give authority, or power to do somehow shows that the grand jury was permitted to act at a lower standard of proof? State's argument as to what in their judgment means is even more confusing. The state's cases cite seem to merely indicate that the grand jury's ability to nullify. I'm going to skip through this. This is just talking about different cases that support their argument. But I don't see anything actual. Just saying that they want to, continue and their claims on the grounds of error for dismissal in the grand jury. I have to go through this more, because just to see what are the points that have anything to do with the case, and what is case law that is just kind of reiterating the same stuff over and over again.
Thank you, Gail, for the $5 super chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Super sticker.
Mr. Kohberger asserts a theory. Not his defense, but Kohberger himself. That kind of tells me that maybe perhaps Kohberger does have a little bit more of a hand in things than, what we're saying. But Mr. Kohberger asserts a theory that the law allows and seeks a remedy this court can grant. The state's final argument is that erroneous instructions to a grand jury do not permit either dismissal or to treat the indictment as a presentment. Once again, a tortuous path to this conclusion must be tread. First, the state claims only statutory basis for dismissal can affect a grand jury, relying on a case from 1927. While the defense is typically interested in the past, the state already noted that in Edmondson, the court went beyond what the statute permits. The defense already explained why courts like Idaho have gone beyond the statutes to find the due process concerns attached to grand juries. Defense is brief at 18. The state likely realizes that the argument has little likelihood of success and shifts to arguing that the prejudice must be shown. First, Mr. Kohberger disagrees. Yes, the cases counsel cited are for trial juries. However, there is simply no credible argument to be made that the state may mislead a grand jury as to the standard of proof and rely on the indictment it procures. Additionally, it makes little to no sense that a defendant deprived of his right to counsel for preliminary hearing will doom his eventual conviction, but a defendant given a grand jury told it may indict a ham sandwich has no recourse. So they're basically trying to say that they're arguing the fact that it's very easy to indict somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And that shouldn't be the statute when it comes to, defendants and people that are accused of a crime. Mm-hmm. And so I sort of agree with him. I'm not going to lie. I think that it would be fair to have counsel, that represent the defense in grand jury trials or grand jury settings, where they can also say, hey, this evidence that they're telling you that my client did, this is the evidence that my client has that says otherwise. Now make your decision, right? So,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Thank you, Purple, for your $9.99 super sticker. That's a pretty cool one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
And
so
we
to
got this one.
That's true. The koozies. Man, I forgot where I put mine. Yeah, I have it somewhere here. Oh, it's right here. I have it upside down.
Mine's right here.
I got mine right over there. I have to go get it.
No, you're good. All right, so to deprive the accused of fundamental right has natural consequences. Second, Mr. Kohberger will demonstrate in a separate motion that prejudice that resulted from erroneous instruction in this matter. Finally, the state argues it can only seek another indictment, and there is no way for this court to treat this indictment as presentment. The law is replete with courts treating legal documents masquerading as one thing as what they actually are. The state's argument that the language in the IC 19-1603 and 04 does not give courts the power to prevent resubmission of a case to grand jury is simply inaccurate. The Idaho Supreme Court found that a court can refuse resubmission. So that's the angle. They want to get the grand jury thrown out and not have it resubmitted, essentially, basically releasing him from jail. And
Nope.
I don't know. How do you file? They're trying to prevent him being charged again. That's not how things work. The only time you cannot be charged again is if you were acquitted.
Double jeopardy.
That's the double jeopardy rule. You know, just because grand jury didn't go the way you like it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Yeah. So I'll take double jeopardy for 500, please.
Yeah, we're all done here. We got just this much. All right. The opinions of various district courts are not persuasive authority. The state also appends to its decision 3 district court opinions claiming they are persuasive authority. Certainly, all these respectable jurists may have attempted to tackle these issues, but they did not have the benefit of Mr. Kohberger's briefing and research elucidating where the beyond a reasonable doubt standard for grand juries originated and how it has been treated by prosecutors and courts ever since its adoption. It appears that the state has from these decisions much of its argument, and there is nothing within them that has not been addressed above. Thus, the defense respectfully asks the court to approach this subject with an open mind. Well, I can tell you it's probably going to be closed or turned away, in my opinion.
I agree.
So, I don't think it's going to fly.
Hell no. And look at the freaking a gallon of water. Or is that vodka?
It's tequila. Oh, man. So we'll answer just a couple questions and then we're going to close out the show. My streamer is not working again.
Wait, there was one that asked how Nelson was.
Nelson's doing good. He's doing good. He's getting better every day. Thank you for reminding me, because there is a raffle that's going on. I'll pull this back up in a second, but we're raffling off this rescue theme handmade quilt. $5 per entry. Easiest way to enter is through Cash App. If you don't use Cash App, email me and we'll let you know how you can enter it in. But the drawing will be on August 28th. So you have just a few more days to enter into the contest. You can enter multiple times. And it's like a 500, 400, 300. I don't know how much it's worth, but it's worth a couple of $100. And so it's a great value. I'll tell you what, my mother-in-law has made me like 4 or 5 of these, like for me and my wife. And I'll say that that I use mine all the freaking time, summer or not. I love it. So, like I said, open it up a little bit.
Nice.
So, and the back, and when you look close to it, see how it's stitched in to the with little bones or whatnot. And why we're doing this raffle is a benefit for my our Frenchie. He has IVDD, which basically he lost his ability to move his rear legs, and we had to go through a lengthy, or not lengthy, we had to go through a very expensive surgery. It cost us about $8,000 just for the surgery, and through a lengthy rehab that he's still doing today. He just went out there about a week ago, went through the aquifer. There's a little bit of concern that another disc might be bulging, so our prayers are that it's not. But you know, we're doing the raffle for his benefit and to, you know, kind of ease the financial stress that caused. You know what I'm saying? So we'd appreciate it. And Blue, are you popping something?
Oh, dude, that was me, man. My bad. I thought I had the mute button on. I was messing with the koozie, man. My bad.
It was like, what is that
I
noise?
was like, man, I'm on mute. How do you hear that?
I messed up, homie. I messed up. But
No, you're good.
what's it called? I'm gonna head out, man. I got some things to do real quick. But hey, thanks for having me on. Everybody in the chat, members, new members, right? Mods, everybody, thank you. And I'll see y'all not Friday, but maybe Saturday or Sunday. Y'all take care.
That sounds good, my man.
Next week,
See you next time.
Let's see how long it takes for me to get the hell out of here. Because my computer is kind of messing up.
It's all good, man. What was that? It was Meg P. I wanted to answer that question.
You're still on, Hyman. It's probably better if you just turn it off or close it.
There it is. Yeah. Meg, if you can ask that question again, I can't find it.
No, I can look for it.
I can see Hyman still messing around in the back. Okay. Do you guys believe that the grand jury works anymore? Should there be a preliminary only? That's a great question. I side with the preliminary. You know, believe it or not, a lot of people think that because, you know, either I'm ex-law or whatever the case may be, that I'm just pro whatever the courts and law enforcement say. Not necessarily. I'm very much a constitutionalist for the most part. I just don't think that I don't want to support somebody I think, you know, committed a quadruple homicide. You know what I'm saying? He's not my hero for constitutional rights. So, you know, that is what it is. But when it comes to, like, for instance, the 3 DNAs that were unknown, if there was a workup, which I doubt that there was, but if there was a workup done on it, then the defense should have it. Now, the reason I don't think there was a workup done on it is because that workup was done by the FBI, not by Moscow or anything else. And so, you know, the FBI doesn't want to give up their work on what they did with Bryan. I don't think they're going to give up their work if they even tried to do it with the other 3 unknown. But I think that it was based off of the FBI profile why one wasn't done on all 3. But I do think that all information relative to, you know, how somebody became a suspect should be given to the defendant. You know, I think that Bryan Kohberger should have that IgG stuff. I don't think it's going to make a difference, you know, but I think both sides should have all the information that they possibly can to present themselves correctly. So, I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, thank you, Miss Lily C. She says, DT, oh my God, sorry to hear that about your Frenchie. I have one as well. I've heard of that. Yes, super expensive, but with love, therapy, DN, and patience, he'll be okay. Yeah, it occurred a while ago, and he was given like a 10% chance to walk again, I think. You know, basically there's stages of IVDD, and like one of the more earlier or less dangerous or extensive situations is where the dogs can still stand, but they're wobbly and they fall over. The most extreme case would be losing the ability to move your rear legs. And so for Nelson, he had the extreme case. And, you know, he's my wife's like apple of her eye for forever. And so I couldn't just put him down. And now he's about 80%, I'll say. He's about 80%. They don't want the preliminary hearing because the defense gets a peek at the state's case. Yeah, but I mean, if the case is good, so, you know, why is it called a koozie though? That's a good one. Why do they call them koozies, Blue? I think you would know the answer to that.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's true. I will be taking us off once we hit 40K. Let's see. We'll answer a few more, and then we'll be getting out of here. Do you see anything there, Blue?
Just prayers for Nelson.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. I don't see anything else. Do you have any final things to say, Big Blue, before we call it a show? We went over 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you for everybody for watching. Thank you for, all the mods and the super stickers, and just keep an eye out there, man. There's a lot of dangerous people out there. There's another case that I heard of about the little girl in California. Sad situation. I'm not sure if we're going to cover it or not. We really don't like covering kid stories, but we'll see. But take care, guys. And they already caught the guy, which is good.
And real quick, Tommy Gessinger is asking if we have a PayPal. We do. Email me because my wife is in charge of that, and I Strong Turkey Show, but it might be Nelson's Walking Fund. I know that's what the Venmo is, Nelson's Walking Fund. And email us, and we'll be able to give you that information on the PayPal. So, with that being said, y'all, we'll come back on what's today? Wednesday. We'll come back on Friday, probably a little bit later than normal. I got to go out of town and pick up my older daughters, and so I'll be back probably around 30. So we'll probably kick the party off about 7:45. But make sure, I did hear about the PA shooting. It's horrific. Y'all have no idea. She's amazing. With that being said, y'all, we'll see you next time. Peace.